Hello, dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the T-Masters.com tea boutique. It's the fourth Sunday before Christmas. In Germany, we start to put a little candle to remind us of the progression towards Christmas. So if you want some tea for your friends and family or yourself for Christmas, it's a good time now to make your order, your cart. And if you're in the US, write me an email. Otherwise, you can easier, if you're in another country, it's easier to place the order. Simply use PayPal. Today, we are continuing with our class about Wenshan Baozhong. I was thinking of a class about a brewing technique. Last week we saw the traditional Chaozhou Kung Fu Cha technique, which, to summarize, consists in using a lot of tea in a very small volume to make a very, very concentrated, powerful cup. This is especially possible with roasted Baozhong, and because it's the closest that we get to Hui Yancha, for which this technique was invented. And today I thought, okay, um, we can review different technique and let's take the complete opposite approach. Instead of using a very small teapot that is contained where the temperature is maximized and the concentration is maximized, let's use the vessel that lets the leaves unfold the most, where they have the most space to play around. Uh, the bowl technique. It seems like the easiest way of brewing tea, because it's tea in a bowl and boiling water. What can be difficult about this? But we will see there are still a few tricks that we must pay attention to, and this is what I want to tell you today. Before we start, you can see I have a beautiful plant that I gathered yesterday in the mountains of Nehru in the north of Taipei. I went to the opening of a photographic exhibition by Ratana Vandi, a photographer from Cambodia, who has taken lots of beautiful artsy photos and has exhibited them in this place that he has rented for the occasion. And I went there to do what I do best and what I love to do, tea, to entertain the guests that would come to this photographic exhibition. So it was a good time to meet Taiwanese and French friends who came to visit the exhibition. There was even some food, and I provided the tea on a chashi, and I think it got a lot of people's attention. It was also a good bridge to start conversations, and I chose a tea that would have some meaning for this show. I chose the Dongding Hongshui Oolong. I wanted something very traditional, not something very fancy, because this place is actually in the mountains. It's not not at all a fancy place. It used to be actually a restaurant uh, for tourists, like almost a temporary place, nothing luxurious at all. It's called the Stone House. So actually, you can still see some stones. It's really built on the flank of the hill. It's a bit humid, and but it has a lot of charm. There's a lot of nature outside. There are maybe a few mosquitoes too many. I got them, and that's why I chose a plant from the neighborhood. And the tea I wanted a tea that would have a very strong aroma, a lot of complexity, a lot of aftertaste, a tea that we don't drink to quench the thirst, but because we have to, but a tea that we would drink because we want to, and that leaves a strong, long aftertaste, like art, huh? Like watching these photographs. Uh, it's not when you are confronted by art. Well, um, sometimes you don't feel anything, but some photographs will move you, and this is what art does best. And so I wanted to create a connection between the senses and also start with this small cup of tea to give a sense that pleasure has many layers. It's not just a scent, but it has also a taste and an aftertaste. And this taste is evolving, is changing. Maybe first a little bitter and sour, and then some sweetness, and it's very long. So it tells a story. Really like the pictures. And over there, not only did I meet lots of friends, some that I had known 15 years ago, had come to visit me, but I also really very much liked one picture that I purchased. Actually, I did an exchange. He would not take my money, so we did an exchange tea for a picture, and this is it. Look how beautiful. Some people doing parapente, this kind of parachute close to this island on off the coast of Taiwan on a very blue sky. So I was moved by these four people flying in the air, and I hope that our tea today can also help us relax and leave us floating in the air. So very, very relaxed. The most relaxing way of brewing tea is with the tea bowl. Three layers that we can approach a bowl. First, from very far, we have the shape. The second, we have the texture of the bowl. And third, we have the clay of the bowl. What is the bowl made of? This we see at the bottom uh, most of the time. So um, we, of course, first need to know what tea we are going to brew. So instead of brewing the roasted Baozhong, we go back to the opposite. So if the roasted Baozhong goes well in a teapot, very crammed, maybe the unroasted fresh Baozhong goes best in a bowl that uh, gives it space to unfold. So I'm using the Baozhong Excellence made with the Qingxing Oolong cultivar. It's from Pinglin. I have to check. Oh, it was made, harvested on May the 4th. For all the Star Wars fan, this is must-have tea. May the 4th be with you. And so, which bowl is suitable for this tea? First, in terms of shape, what does shape tell us? Oh, here, to make it very simple, two kinds of shape. Either the shape is very flat and open, then it will cool down fast, or it is more tall and there's less surface for the interchange of heat between air and water. Maybe this one is tallest, so this one then will keep the heat better. So usually we say this closed shape is more for the winter, in order for the water to remain warm very long, and the more open shape is better for the summertime, because then you want your tea to cool down. Now, for a fresh Baozhong, we both could be suitable, depending also on what kind of temperature you have in your home. Now this uh, winter and summer is a bit less relevant if you make your tea inside. These rules were more made in the past when houses were not heated. And for fresh, it could make sense still to have an open bowl, but we have to still think about it. And also remember that Baozhong is not green tea. With green tea, to get it to cool down quickly is really not a problem. But for Baozhong, we saw the leaves are more mature, they are still a little bit oxidized, and the more you get warmth, the warmer the water, boiling water will extract more flavors. So if you're in a mood for more flavors, then privilege this kind of closed shape. If you want really something very light for thirst quenching, then choose more something open. However, number two is the texture of your bowl. Here we distinguish very uh, easily between the glazed bowls and the unglazed bowls. An unglazed bowl will have a natural porosity because it lacks this glaze, and this porosity will absorb a lot of flavors from the tea. This absorption will lead to make the tea smoother, rounder, maybe more harmonious. However, it will also take away a lot of details, a lot of fine aromas of the tea. Now, if you have a very rough tea, very strong, powerful tea, this porosity can be an advantage. If you have, like here, a very light and fresh, delicate tea, then glazed bowl makes more sense. So here we can now take away this bowl. It does not, it's not suitable for Wenshan Baozhong. The porosity would take away too much of these fine aromas, especially for the light oxidized Baozhongs. Now, these two bowls, both were inspired by the Zhenyang bowls from the Song Dynasty. This is really a quite nice imitation. This is a more modern inspiration. This one is made by Michel François. Both have lots of incredible, beautiful details inside that make it a pleasure to watch inside. But there is one very important difference between these two bowls, and this is level number 3, the clay. You can see this one is made of porcelain. This white porcelain at the foot is usually where the glaze does not cover the bowl, so it's possible to know what kind of clay you have. So this white clay indicates that this is porcelain, and here this clay is brown, dark brown, reddish. It has a high iron content, and this helps the bowl to be quite um, uh, hot. It retains a lot of heat uh, when it's warm. So whereas porcelain, we know using porcelain Gaiwan, most of the time the heat goes away faster. Now, with with a tea that is where fragrances are more important, I would recommend this porcelain bowl. However, for a tea where you want to emphasize the taste and the aftertaste, I would more recommend this bowl because of this more high iron content in the clay. Uh, so, and I'm going to check what you think, and if you have already some questions. Oh, Terry says we have the same type of grass where you are. Great, it's in our western North Carolina mountains. We call it here I should miscanthus. Okay, I'm learning something today. Thank you very much, Terry, for teaching me the name of this grass, which looks very elegant and makes for nice pictures. As if you see my Instagram, you will see it made its effect. So, what should I use? Really, in this case, both could be suitable. So far, for the other two lessons, I've used this bowl by Michel Francois. Uh, I'm tempted now because it is made with Qingxing cultivar to use the Jianyang bowl in order to more emphasize the taste. And let's try this bowl now. Now we come to the technique of brewing Baozhong with bowl. Now, whatever bowl you would choose, this step is essential, and it is preheating the bowl. Because the higher the temperature, the more flavors you are able to extract. If you pour boiling water in the bowl, in a cold bowl, the temperature of the water will drop very quickly, dramatically. Whereas if you pour boiling water in a preheated bowl, your temperature will remain higher and be able to extract more aromas. And since we don't have a cover, a lid for the bowl, this step is even more important because by design, the bowl will drop in temperature quite fast. But with this bowl, thanks to this clay, which is very hot, almost like metal, it's not going to drop so fast. Okay. See how much tea I use. We don't need to use too much tea. The idea is not to, if you want something very concentrated, do it Gong Fu, Chaozhou Gong Fu style. This is really a style where you want more lighter aromas, and therefore it's more suitable for a lower leaf to water ratio. Okay, so here I really recommend to pour on the side in order to let the leaves swirl and open. And here, since we are brewing in a bowl and not in a teapot or in a gaiwan, we have to take advantage and watch the leaves as they dance, as they unfold, as they change little by little. So this is really, as the show is, and you have to be then mesmerized by the beauty of these leaves, finding their place. Once they stop, what you can do with porcelain teaspoon is to continue to let them turn, to give them a bit more swirl. This will help them to continue to unfold and to release more aromas. Now we want to do this with grace. We try not to make sound by touching the bowl. Just let the leaves turn so that they open up. And you can also start to check the color of the tea on the spoon. You may, of course, you are going to smell it. It's already smelling wonderful, very sweet. And yeah, take advantage. See the beauty of the contrast of the glaze and the dark green leaves. Smell the smells and empty this cup. And now, after the leaves are rested, it's possible to pour a little bit. It's going to cool down faster in this cup than in the bowl. At the end, you could also drink directly from the bowl, thanks to a place that we have also on this plate, on the bowl. It's here. It's a little place just big enough to put your lip under the rim. Usually, a good tea bowl will have a place for you to put your lips on. This is one of the details that you should check when you are purchasing a tea bowl and not just a common bowl, so that your lips will feel comfortable drinking from the bowl. We have it also here, a little place. And of course, the first cup is going to be quite light, and the tea is going to get stronger and stronger with time. But the idea is not to use too many leaves so that it won't too quickly become overly strong. We want really to take our time. Now it has a good concentration, and it's very easy to refill. If you have more than one guest, then you prepare several cups, and especially you could empty them. You could empty the bowl almost when you feel that the tea has reached its climax, or you can continue to monitor it, enjoy the view, enjoy the tea, enjoy the smells, enjoy your chashi, and as soon as it becomes too strong, very easy, simply add some more water in the bowl, and it will again start to brew and release more flavors, but also start from a weakened level. Yeah, now this one has a nice balance between fragrance and aftertaste. This is something I had less with the porcelain bowl, which was really much more on the scent side. And of course, this Baozhong excellence is also one of the top cultivars for Baozhong, a real beauty. And since I'm also quite used to drink stronger, I still don't feel the need to add water. It's getting more concentrated, but still even more and more enjoyable. So a very, very easy, relaxing way of drinking tea that allows you to have a glimpse at the leaves all the time and wonder how uh, wonderful how by what miracle such beautiful aromas are released by these green leaves that are that have been dancing in the bowl. Mm. So, but in order to uh, be able to enjoy it so easily, so carelessly almost, uh, we had to think about the pairing of the bowl and the tea. So this still requires some thought beforehand, and using that was one. Number two, preheat, and number three, not use too many leaves unless you are really out to get something very strong. But then maybe you should not brew in this manner. This manner is still to get a more uh, lighter notes, a tea that does not change too quickly, because it's not so practical to empty. If I wanted to empty it with this spoon, it takes some time. So I don't want to be in a rush. I really want uh, to do these movements very slowly, little by little. So in this regard, the tea bowl, even though it's very round, very smooth, it it is not going to make you fast. It's going to make you slow. The teapot are more for fast brewing, flash brewing. Sometimes with the bowl, you have to slow down, and now you may even drink directly from the bowl. Mm, this also adds gravitas, because you make this beautiful movement with your hands, and you feel the warmth. You have to be careful. Below it's going to be quite warm. On top, it's just nice. Mm. Now this feels very much like a ceremony. So yeah, the bowl adds directness to the tea. We don't need a teapot and a cup. We can directly get the tea from the bowl. It connects us so even closer. Also, there's no barrier between us and the leaves. We see them all the time. We see how they've changed. This is also something that we don't have with the Gaiwan or with the teapot. So it's a technique where the visual pleasure is enhanced by having by lacking this lid. It's, I would say, more suitable for the lighter oxidized Baozhongs than for the roasted Baozhongs. For them, the Chaozhou Gongfu is better, but you may try, and it's it's fun to experience different techniques and see how tea adapts also to your technique. But um, with the bowl, try to use fewer leaves, so then you have more time to adjust. If you realize, oh, now it's getting too strong, Then you still have time to add water. And it also, yeah, it has this directness. It says you do fewer movements. You don't have to pour in the cups, so less problems with putting water on the side. So a very relaxed way. And when it's too strong, so you don't have to drink it to the end. When it's getting a bit stronger, just add some water. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of this technique. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to check now. And ooh la la, lots of comments and questions. Ooh la la. Oh, my eyes are a bit sleepy already. I've got to take it a bit closer. No questions yet. My bowl, Terry writes, my bowl is made from local clay, which has high iron content. So I will choose it since it has a smaller opening for winter tea. Yes, I agree. And then you can also try it with this tea. And I think it should make a good, you should have a good result. Elizabeth writes, I'm using a simple white porcelain rice bowl, but it always brings out good flavors in the tea. I'll see how it goes. Terry, I thought of using a porcelain rice bowl too. Elizabeth, I like the sweetness that comes out very early in the bowl. Yes, indeed, it's the first sweetness that we get. Terry, thank you for including this tea in the sampler. It's a beautiful tea for bowl tea. Terry writes, is this high mountain tea? So no, we saw in one of the classes that you can check for in the beginning about the geography of Wenshan Baozhong, that Wenshan area does not go over 1,000 meters, so it never qualifies as a high mountain tea. It has to be over 1,000 to qualify as a high mountain tea. Wenshan Baozhong goes around 600, 700, maybe maximum 800 meters high, and but while it is not a high mountain tea from the elevation, in terms of oxidation level, it comes actually quite close, especially in the Pinglin area. We saw in Sanxia they do a bit stronger oxidation, but in the Pinglin area with these hills that you could, so where the picture I used for this vignette, for the thumbnail of this video, this is taken in the Wenshan area. You can see mountains, but these mountains are not over 1,000 meters high. So very, but still a spring tea, very fresh, not roasted. I'm now making noise, what you should not do. And cheers. In the coming weeks, we are going to continue with more applications of what we have learned and see how we can implement the knowledge we have learned from the classes before into our brewing of tea, maybe also through the chashi. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Thumbs up, and see you next week for another tea class. Bye bye.